Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Locks of the Day podcast. This is episode number 22. I'm back here with Zach and Andrew. We're here with a little special edition. We got a wild weekend going on. You obviously got playoff football. You got tennis back with a little Australian Open action. If you know anything about that, we'll tune you into that. Then, of course, you got college ball, NBA, everything going on. So we're here to give you the good old hot locks. Last week, NFL Premium recap, we went 6-1 plus 9.95 units, so almost plus 10 units. Missed the sweep by zero point 0.5, which you'll see in a few minutes, which would have had us plus 17 units on the week, nearing us plus 100. But instead, we are now plus 91.1 units this NFL season, which is still exceptional. Our last three podcasts for NFL, we are actually 13-3, up 23.75 units. So if you're not tailing, I don't know what to tell you. That's on you. I apologize. Today's podcast, like I said, we're going to lock you in with NHL, then tennis with the Australian Open, NBA, and college basketball premium picks before we transition into NFL Saturday and Sunday locks. So let's go over the recap. Andy, what did you have last week?
Yeah, I give you guys quick 3-0. I had Bengals money line, Eagles money line, and Red Wings money line for hockey. That was a plus 175 too. We smacked all three of those. Looked great. I thought the Bengals were going to make playoffs, but then the Chiefs cut them off. That run ended sadly, but did cash on I think five straight Bengals dubs in a row. So we'll take that. We read the script, but just didn't have them going playoffs, I guess. So we'll take that. It was a solid week.
Absolutely. I mean, Eagles money line was a 3-star minus 135, cash it, and Bengals was also a 3-star minus 130, cash it. So that's 6 units alone right there. I had the other 3-star Seahawks minus 5.5 at a minus 135. Lost that one by zero point 0.5. I was the L this week to ruin the sweep, and they beat the Rams 30-25. So that was the game that we missed by zero point 0.5 for the sweep, which would have had us plus 17 units and had us 7-0. I also had a 2-star with the Ravens minus 19.5 at a minus 115. That cash as they whooped the Browns 35-10. And lastly, I had a 2-star on the Giants. Crappy Drew Lock under 189.5 passing yards at a minus 110. He blew it up and had only 138 yards with one touchdown and one interception. And then, Zach, I know you had a couple as well for your recap, so let them know.
Yeah, we had Mike Evans over 6.5 receptions, and that was hit pretty much like I believe right at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Um, like I took it the week before, I was like, big players are going to make the big plays. The Bucks need to win. They're going to go to him, and I think they had around 9. They even did enough to even put their season on the line and decide to throw to him the last play of the game to get him 1,000 yards. It was like the balls on that is kind of crazy, but we had a 2-star there, and then our other 2-star was Jets money line, which that pretty much smacked. End of the first quarter, Aaron Rodgers got booed off the field and then proceeded to drop like 4 touchdowns on the Dolphins, so that was kind of funny to watch as well. So, but they handled business in what was probably his last game, so not bad.
Love it. So there's your Sunday or Saturday and Sunday NFL recap 6-1 plus 9.95 units once again, with no lines over a minus 135. Keep that in mind. So now we will transition into NHL, and I know you boys got some locks.
Yes, sir. I'll rip it with the 3-star right off rip, but just a little recap of the past two nights. 7-0 for premium on Thursday night, 6-1 on Friday night. That's 13-1 the past two nights. I think we've got over 32 units in those two nights. So kid's hot right now. So listen up. We're gonna go with the Capitals money line tonight. It's a plus 105. Um, Caps last night, they lost in a 3-2 in OT against the red hot Habs, which of course we had the Habs plus 1.5 as a 2-star lock that. I did see that Caps goalie in T-Bird's a legend, Charlie Lindgren, he went down, had to exit with an injury, but thankfully Caps have Logan Thompson, who's a brick wall this year. So we're gonna take him tonight. He stepped in rest of the game. Uh, he should have started against the Preds, but he didn't. But his record this year is ridiculous. He's 17-2 with a 2.3 and a 919 save percentage. Like that's all I need to know betting this game. Like That's it. But I'll dive into why I really like this pick. It's A, the Preds are old and washed up. B, they're coming back from a 6-game roadie, West Coast and Canadian road trip. These teams that come back from these road trips are dead. And you got a team that's, I think, average age of 30 plus, third oldest team in the league. Yeah, I'll fade them real quick with a plus 105 Caps money line, 3-star. Thank you.
Love it. And that's the only NHL pick of the day. So I will. Oh,
Zach's got one.
Zach does have one. My bad. My bad. Zach, kick him
I
in.
am here. I am active. We'll roll you through quick here. For our 2-star, we're going with the Anaheim Ducks plus 1.5 at a minus 150. This is one of those season splits tonight. The Flyers took the first game 3-1, and the Ducks have done well of keeping the puck out of their own net. They average on the dot actually 3 goals a game, and that has to do with their goaltending duo of Lucas Dostal and John Gibson. They're a young team, but they like to slow the game down. They don't score too much. They're only averaging about 2.6 a game, but that doesn't concern me too much. The Flyers are giving up around 3.7 goals a game, and the Flyers are allowing just around 30 to 31 shots a game. The Flyers do have some younger goaltenders in Sam Ersson, who may get the start tonight, depending on who they go with, because they've got like 4 on their roster. But in hindsight, the Flyers did struggle to score last time when they played the Ducks. The only reason why they covered the puck line last time just happened to be because of an open net. And Flyers are coming off 4 losses in a row to some pretty good teams, but the Ducks are also coming off in their last 5. 2 wins, 3 losses, but they played some pretty solid teams in those games, losing to Edmonton 3-2, losing to Calgary 3-2. They did lose to St. Louis in their last game 6-2, but they are covering in these games as they covered in 2 of those 3. I think tonight, just be from their defensive experience and their goaltending, they're going to keep this one close. They might force this one into some overtime, maybe even sneak one in regulation, but I think they're going to keep this one close and keep it to at least covering that goal and a half for you. And it's good value at a minus 150 because I do think that the Flyers are nowhere near a minus 200. So
I love that one, Zach. Good luck there. So now we will transition finally into the Australian Open. A little tennis. We are back. Got a little Grand Slam action. Kick it off with a 3-star. Actually, first, let me say this. With tennis, I'm going to tell you the scheduled times. That doesn't mean that's when they actually start. Tennis is all over the place with starting times for matches. It could be hours later. Like they're not 100% accurate. But as of right now, the 3-star is scheduled to start at 10 p.m. Eastern time tonight, Saturday. We have 3-star Tomas Macic, minus 7.5 at a minus 160 versus Summit Nagal. I found this line on DraftKings. Macic just came off the best stretch of his entire career playing incredible tennis against incredible players. Simple. Macic has stepped up his game up big time and found himself in the top 26 now, which is kind of crazy if you know Macic. I mean, he's really been playing that well. He's a strong server. He's only gotten better over the past few months with it. And then on the other hand, you got Summit Nagal, who's one of my favorite to bet on because he's just a low-key good player and he keeps matches tight, honestly. But he ain't getting it done this time. He's just simply not the same level right now, and I see him struggling with his own service games, never mind with Macic's service games. So, mind you, it's a 5-set match. It's not like these are 3-set matches. So a 7.5 spread isn't as big as it looks. So lock in that 3-star Tomas Macic minus 7.5 at a minus 160 for the 3-star. Then I'll get you the 2-star, which is scheduled to start at 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight. We got 2-star Juame Munar plus 6.5 at a minus 110 versus Casper Ruud. Also found that on DraftKings. Yes, Casper Ruud is a great player. He's top 10, and he has been playing well. There's no debating that. But his best surface is still clay by a mile, and this tournament is all on hard court. Ruud doesn't do well in many major tournaments unless it's the French Open, which is on clay, his best surface, and he usually goes to the finals. He lost in the second round last year of the Australian Open, which is horrendous for a top 10 player, and in 4 sets. Didn't even bring it to 5. And then on the other hand, you have Juame Munar, who is definitely no pushover. I mean, his last 4 matches, he's beaten dudes like Lorenzo Musetti, who's ranked number 16 in the world, Nuno Borges, who's ranked number 36 in the world, Alejandro Fokina, who's truthfully a top 50 player easily. I mean, Huame should be able to keep this match within 6.5 or 6.5. I love the line. So 2-star Huame Munar plus 6.5, minus 110 versus Casper Ruud. Lock it in. Those are your two Australian Open locks. Don't miss out. Now I know you boys got some NBA or Zach. Zach, you got the NBA. Lock him in over there, kid.
Yeah, so we're going to start the first one off for you. It's going to be Rockets -5 at a -110. The Rockets are coming off 4 out of 5, while the Hawks are coming off 4 out of 5 losses. So, or actually 4 out of 5 wins for the Rockets, if I didn't say that. And the Hawks coming off 4 out of 5 losses, and they're just coming off a West Coast road trip. The Rockets are the healthier team in this game, which is really why I like them, which is why I'm not going to go into really too much detail about it, as I believe they have really the big edge down low between Alperen Sengun and Amen Thompson as well, who Amen Thompson has really stepped up his game. He's came out of nowhere for the Rockets this season, especially after they just lost Jabari Smith. So, I mean, that's huge for them. And the Hawks, I think this is like the big thing for them is they're missing their X factor. They haven't had Jalen Johnson during this stretch, and they've looked like crap. There's really no other way to put it. This is the main guy who they're missing. They're asking their other guys to step up, and they just don't have it. Jalen Johnson being out is just, it's really just a deal breaker in this one for me. And the Rockets, who are the number 2 team in the West, are really don't have to give a lot of points in this one, only 5. And Houston ranks 3rd in defensive team efficiency. And for a Hawks team that ranks pretty much in the bottom 5 of that, I expect the Rockets to pretty much hold these guys to around 100 points and pull away in this one.
Love it. Then you got the 2-star.
Yeah, and then we got our 2-star here. Our 2-star is going to be the Portland Trailblazers +4 at a -110. The Blazers are also coming off a 5-game road trip heading home, which they competed very well in. And I don't mind this because they blew a couple big leads in those games, but they're a young team. They're a run and go team, and that's how they want to run it. That's how Chauncey Billups wants to run that team. And I think the Heat have been playing better since Jimmy Butler came out, but they still do struggle to score. They're pretty decent defensively, but they still rank in the bottom 3rd in uh, time per possession. They take their time on the shot clock. They want to chew up the entire 24. They want to work a quality possession. Well, when you do that now in today's NBA, you're only going to work around 100 points a game, which has been their issue is that they're not putting up a ton of points and they're relying on the defense. Um, and I think in this one, Portland's backcourt or front court actually is really going to pose some issues for the Heat between DeAndre Ayton and Donovan Clingan. I think it's going to be tough. And then you also have Denny Avdija in there as well. Portland is the tallest team in the NBA. Their average height is 6'7", and Miami does not have a very big team as well. I think Portland just poses a tough matchup in this game for the Heat, who are also at the end of their West Coast road trip, who I think in this one they're going to throw up a dud. But I think Portland has, since they do have this slight edge, I think they're going to keep this one just close enough to cover those 4 points and get the cover for us tonight.
Love it. So now we'll keep it with basketball, and I know we got one college basketball lock, Andy.
Yes, sir. 3-star for tonight for college ball is going to be Arizona State +5.5 on -110 versus Baylor. Love this line against a very mid Baylor team. Game is being played at ASU, so I expect this one to be nice and close. ASU is 9-5 against the spread this year, with a 10-4 record overall. 3 of the 4 losses came against ranked teams like Gonzaga, Florida, and Kansas. Now that conference play has started, though, their schedule will get more difficult, being in the Big 12. But I think they can easily steal a win here against Baylor. ASU, they're guard heavy, that can shoot very well, and they have a big man that's a freshman, an absolute monster, Jaden Quaintance. This kid's insane. He's almost averaging a double-double, and on top of that, he's getting 3 blocks a game as well. So this kid is a freak athlete. He's something to keep an eye on. That kid's definitely going to the NBA pretty soon. I think he matches up very well against Baylor's bigs, who are basically like a true big, sit in the point, set picks, get rebounds. That's pretty much it. So not very athletic. So I like the matchup down low. Take the +5.5 here with Arizona. And then I have a quick one is Pitt -4.5. When you're probably listening to this, that's when the game is probably going on. So if you can get a good live line there, Pitt -4.5. They're playing Louisville. Louisville's banged up right now. So lock that in.
Lock that in. You heard it right there. So there's all the sports except good old NFL. So that's what we're going to kick it into right now. I'll actually start it off with a 3-star for Monday's game. I got a 3-star in the Rams. Matthew Stafford over 240 and a half passing yards at a -110. Going to keep it simple. Matthew Stafford, we know, is one of the league's great passers. The dude can just sling the ball. And having Puka Nakua, Cooper Cup never hurts, especially with Kyron Williams in the backfield to just simply open up the passing game for you. Stafford has averaged 235 passing yards per game throughout this season, which is right around what he needs, but I expect him to step it up a little since it's playoffs. And mind you, the Vikings, their pass defense ranks 28th in the league, so they're giving up yards. And the over-under is also tied at the second highest of the first round, so I expect Stafford to get his yards up there. So lock in a 3-star. Matthew Stafford over 240 and a half passing yards at a -110. We've been hot with the passing yards. And I know, Andy, you got a 3, right?
Yeah, I got a 3. We're going to late game on Sunday. We're gonna do Commanders and Bucks over 48 to -160. We're buying some points here. Got to buy the points just in case of the bullshit. It's the NFL. But I love the over here. Baker and the Bucks, they've been putting up points all year long, averaging 29.5 points a game, fourth best in the league. And right behind them, of course, is the Commanders averaging 28.5 a game. Both these offenses can get down the field with ease and put up points. So it don't matter if it's 3 or 7, we need them all. So also both defenses pretty mid. Bucks giving up 22.6 points on average and Commanders at 23. Baker gonna be Baker. He should light them up, even though the Commander secondary is one of the best in the league. They only let up 189 passing yards, but that's not going to stop Baker from slinging it. Commander's defense lacks against the run though, so Bucky, he's been making a name for himself. I see him going off. So little Bucky Irvin, don't get him going. But
Bucky's a beast.
moving on to the Commanders offense, that's ranked 7th in the league for total yards with 370 a game. Most of their yards do come from the run. They are like one of the best rushing teams with Jaden Daniels and Brian Robinson Jr. They both had over 800 yards this year, so that's very solid if you're going to have two guys rushing the ball. Daniels had 6 rushing TDs and Robinson had 8 this year. So I I think I think the over is a fucking lock. The Bucks defense, they're not that solid. Let up only 98 yards on the ground per game, which is top 4 in the league. So they're solid against the run, but they are very like bottom of the league against the pass. So I think it's this game's just it really, really has a shootout on it, all over it. I think it's going to be a fucking shootout. So take that over 48 -160. Lock it
Lock
in.
it in. So Zach, you got a 2?
Yeah, so we're going Broncos plus 10. That is a -120. We're rolling in this game. We're giving the Broncos the hot hand here, the 7 seed going to play the 2 seed. So they're heading up to Buffalo for this one. I think what I like the most in this game is that the Broncos, one, are hot offensively, and two, that defense will back it up. I mean, the Broncos defense has been solid all year. They're a top 3 defense all year. They're coming in against Buffalo's defense, who Buffalo was 2 seed all year and couldn't even rank in the top 10 defensively. And Buffalo's defense suffered a lot in these last 5 games. They've given up 40 plus points twice in those games, and they've kind of consistently struggled. I mean, they played the Patriots twice in those games. They gave up 20 plus points in those games as well. The Broncos have possibly the best secondary in the NFL. And we're going Pat Surtain, we're going Riley Moss. Then you got to do with Brandon Jones, PJ Locke. The list can go on. I can write it down for you if you need to. But it just keeps going. On top of that, the offense of the Broncos has started to find it. Bo Nix has been doing pretty well. He's been finding Jaleel McLaughlin. He's got Marvin Mims is going now. Cortland Sutton is starting to go, and they're clicking on all cylinders. They're the better coach team in this one. And I think the thing that I really like the most out of everything that I'm seeing here is the Bills' big weakness is their wide receiver play. They've got good/decent receivers, but no one really stands out on paper. They really haven't been able to make that happen. It's really been Josh Allen who's been able to create and get these receivers open down the field, who's been able to get more time in the pocket for them to create that space. They're not going to have that time when they play the Broncos this upcoming week. They're dealing with too good of a talent, and the Broncos are going to be ready for that run game that the Bills are going to offer with James Cook and Josh Allen trying to pound the ball up the middle the entire time. And I think because the Broncos are the better coach team here, Sean Payton has these guys locked in, got them to the playoffs. The expectations for this team was extremely low. And for them to be in the playoffs competing for a Super Bowl is massive in just Bo Nix's first year. I think just because they are the 7 seed, they're getting disrespected a little bit and they're being given this many points. And we bought a point to go up to +10, but I like the value here for the Broncos getting 10 on the road. So, I mean, Broncos +10 -120. I think we love it.
Beautiful. Then you want some action on the first NFL playoff game, I'm sure, right? Don't worry, I got you. Little two-star for Saturday today. The Texans versus the Chargers, right? On the Texans, we got Nico Collins over 87.5 receiving yards at a -110. He hasn't done this in over a month. That doesn't really worry me at all. This reminds me of Rodgers and, things like that. I don't care what you've done the past few weeks. You're cashing when I tell you to. Nico Collins is one of the most talented wide receivers in the entire league. And with no Tank Dell still, of course, he simply just has to have a big game. Like, he's a monster play waiting to happen. This dude is a freak athlete. And the Chargers defense doesn't really worry me either. I mean, they just gave up 9 receptions, 123 yards, and a touchdown to Jacoby Myers last week. Mike Evans had his best game all season against them a few weeks ago with 9 receptions, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dude just nuked them. And like I said, I mean, I personally think Nico Collins is more talented than both those guys, with all due respect to Big Mike, the good old soon-to-be Hall of Famer, good old Zach's lock the past 2 weeks, cashing for all of us. But this week, it's Nico Collins' time to step up. So lock in a 2-star, Nico Collins, over 87.5 reception yards at a -110. You boys got anything else? All set? Beautiful. So that wraps up podcast number 22. Thank you for tuning in to the Locks of the Day podcast, and we will see you next week. Let's smack. Peace.